Let's talk about why big data and AI matters to even the smallest businesses. One of my favorite examples of a small business using AI and big data is a butcher's shop. This is a London-based butcher shop run by the person that founded it 50 odd years ago and his son. They're called Pendleton. And I work with them, and they said why initially the dad was very skeptical, saying, okay, big data and AI has nothing to do with us. We have some real world challenges we are facing. On the bit of their high street, a supermarket moved in recently because the library closed down. They now saw real competition. And they were struggling to actually find their place of saying, okay, how do we compete with the supermarket? Do we compete on price? And they were not quite sure, or do they compete on something differently? And then they were not quite sure how many people actually walk past the shop. Because I was saying, actually, when the supermarket moved in, maybe you get more footfall and potentially more customers. So if you get the message right, you could potentially up your business. So there were quite a few big questions they wanted to have an answer to. So we thought, how do we start this process? How do you start collecting data? And what we very often forget is with big data, we now have huge volumes of data all around us. So with data floating around us. One example is that we all carry mobile phones, right? And these mobile phones emit signals because they continuously look for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections. And these signals can be picked up. So when they wanted to understand the footfall, so how many people walk past their shop, we installed a little device that cost $100 or so that collects and counts how many mobile phones walk past. And because we all carry them, it basically gave them a very accurate understanding of footfall. Once they had this then allowed them to experiment with new marketing messages. And they could see a real-time impact on this. So one day they put a sign out there saying, today we're competing against the supermarket and we are beating them on all prices on beef. And then they could see, does this happen? What's the impact on this on sales? Another day they would put up a message saying, come in for this lamb recipe that has been passed down through generations. Come in and collect your recipe card and all the ingredients. And again, they could test this. Surprise, surprise, what really worked was these engaging messages where they said, actually, where they build these customer relationships, saying this is something we've been doing for years, this is all locally sourced lamb, come in and talk to us about the recipe. For me, this is a great example because for something that cost very little, they got real insight. So they got really excited about this. And nowadays they're using big data and AI for lots of different things. They use this, they have cameras now that monitor how many people are in their shop and what they're looking at. They have started using and pulling in some weather information too, because lots of governments now have an open data policy, so you don't have to pay a lot of money for accessing some of this data, and they're now pulling in data from the Met Office, which gives them weather predictions, and they now know when to produce sausages because they know if the weather is going to get better or the predictions are good, people will come in to get ready for the barbecue season. All of this is making a real difference. So sometimes I get small businesses come to me and say, okay, all of this big data, AI is for big companies with big budgets. What this butcher story I think is telling all of us is that this is not true. Anyone, even with the smallest budget, can now address their real business challenges using tools, collecting data that is available for free, using services that I can subscribe to where I can store and analyze this data to make a real business, make a real difference to your business. If you would like to learn more, head to my website at bernardmarr.com, where you can find tons of articles, white papers and videos that will give you a lot more insights into real-world case studies and examples.